Hey guys, today I'm going to be telling you 100 tips that you can do to be a better Splatoon player. If you're a skilled player, you'll probably know some of these already, but stick around. You might learn a thing or two, or 3, or 4, or 5, or 6, or 7, or let's just get into the video already. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to be going over are weapon rolls. These are important because it's basically what your role is in a game of Turf War or Ranked. Your role varies depending on what weapon you're using. The first one I'm going to be going over is Slayer. The Slayer tries to get kills over inking turf. Slayer weapons are usually short range, but do a lot of damage. Slayers try to stay hidden in the ink and come out when the time's right to get a splat. Slayers usually have the chunks Ninja Squid and Dorsum speed up. Something not to do when playing as a Slayer is to spawn camp the other team randomly when your team's pushing forward or getting destroyed. Some common Slayer weapons are the Tantic Splatter Shot, the Splash-O-Matic, the Splatana Stamper, the Rapid Blaster Deco, and the 96 Gal Deco. In summary, the Slayer is basically a secret agent murderer who's super cool. Next is the support or assist weapon class. Supporters usually help the entire team, like the name says. They help teammates out with splatting and turf inking. Their DPS is usually not too high, but that's not a problem because they are mainly assisting their partners in battle. Some common weapons for supporter are the NZAP 85, the Tri-Stringer, and the custom Splatter Shot. Why do I feel like 99% of you guys are going to want to use this? Because you can be lazy with it and it's overpowered. The next weapon class is Anchor. Anchor weapons have range, unlike most rules. They don't die a lot, and they stay back at spawn anchor around the area, then try to get splashed from far away. They watch a lot of what's going on, seeing all their friends die right before their very eyes. Not sad at all. A good map to do this on is Brownwater Springs because it's vertical. In a way, it's similar to Slayer because you go for splats over inking turf, but it's different. Some good anchor weapons are the E-Leader 4K and the E-Leader 4K scope, the ZF Charger and the ZF Charger scope, the Heavy and the Hydra Splatlings, the Explosher and the Flingser Roller. I'm going to be honest, this role takes a lot of accuracy and practice. The fourth role is interesting. It's called Skirmisher, and it's a unique role because the Skirmisher dies a lot. No, you don't just jump out into the water and purposely get splattered to sacrifice yourself. It's for something much more important. Distraction. You try to get chased by the other team and get into fights so the rest of the team can go on and inking turf and splatting. Some popular skirmisher weapons are the Dark Tetra Dualies, the Splatana Wiper, the Ink Brush Nouveau, and the Sploosh-O-Matic. Remember, no sacrifices. And the last one, Flex. It's a lot more simple than the others. It's basically just combining 2 or more playstyles, like Skirmisher and Slayer, or Anchor and Support. Some meta weapons for Flex are Dually Squelchers, the Range Blaster, the Nautilus 47. Wow, that's only 6 out of 100? Don't worry, the other 96 will be a lot more short. This is just long because I had to get through all the playstyles. My next few tips will be about story mode. When beating it, don't go to every single kettle. But after beating it, you should go to every single kettle. Make sure to keep an eye out for buttons hidden around the map. You can get free locker items, salmon eggs, or even sunken scrolls if you're lucky. Speaking of sunken scrolls, you should always keep track of your alternate logs and sunken scrolls so you can find out lore and hidden things. Another thing that most people don't know about is once you 100% any of the sites, you can talk to Mari, you'll get a piece of a map that you can put in your locker. Once you 100% all of the story mode, there's another hidden stage called After Alterna, and it's really hard. But you do get some barriers as a completion reward, so it's worth it. The next few things that I'm going to be going over are how close you should be to your teammates depending on the mode. In Turf War, you should be spread out so you can cover lots of ground. In Splat Zones, you should be fairly spread out with your teammates, but kind of close because the zone's not that big. In Rainmaker, you should be very close to your teammates so your teammates can protect whoever has the Rainmaker. In Tower Control, you should be close to your teammates because you should have as many people on the tower as possible. And lastly, in Clam Blitz, you and your teammates should be spread apart so you can collect lots of clams, but when you score on the other team, you should be close to your teammates so you can get lots of clams and safer. When playing Tower Control, use a weapon with a suction bomb. Do it. Now. A splat bomb can also be helpful, but it can fall off the tower pretty easily. When you are low ranked in ranked mode, I'd say from C- to C+, you should play Anarchy Series because it can get your rank up a lot. When you get to a higher rank, you should also play Series sometimes, but just not as much because you should be careful. Your rank can go up a lot, but it can also go down if you lose. In Tower Control, don't try to hide from your enemy on the tower because then you'll lose your life in a grisly end. Instead, try staying off the tower directly. try to stay around it so there's more space to get around and get a splat. If you're using a long-range weapon, like a charger, then you can stand extra far back. When you and your teammates are all in the tower, you should try to shoot one person at a time. It goes faster. If there's a teammate on the tower and you're respawning, super jump to them. You have 1.4 seconds to get there before they die. You have to come in at the right angle at the right time. I'm counting on you. No, I'm kidding. But you should try to super jump to the tower pretty fast, especially if there's only 1 or 2 people on it, because there's a high chance they'll die. Oh yeah, not everyone knows about super jumping. Super jumping is where you go to the map, press an arrow coordinating to one of the players, and press A to jump to them. Then you go across the sky and land to where they are. Make sure to be careful in super jumping. You can get splatted by an enemy when you land. If you see an enemy trying to super jump somewhere, and you see the marking, shoot it like there's no tomorrow. It's like a cat and a laser pointer. You gotta get it, or it's the end of the world. If you try a triple splashdown when its gauge is full, super jump to a teammate in enemy ink territory, and just before landing, use it. Trust me. You become super annoying to everybody, and they get all emotional, physical, and virtual damage all at the same time. Okay, now I'm going to be going over some tips for the Rainmaker. My first tip is no matter where you are, always go forward. If the entire other team is ganging up on you, either go forward or try to fight back, but never go backward. If the Rainmaker is still in its bubble and the other team has almost exploded it, go back rather than try to fight, because it's going to explode. Make sure to never go to your side with the Rainmaker, because you're going to die and the other team is going to take it and win. Then you're going to get mad and break your wall and see all the raccoons that have been living inside them. When someone on your team has the Rainmaker who's not you, protect them at all costs, even death. Always remember that when you have the Rainmaker, you can't use your special, so don't waste your time trying to do it. I'm going to go over some tips for splat zones now. My first one is when you're playing a map with 2 separate zones, you and your team should go for one and then go for the other. Never wait for the right time to get a zone. If you're doing good, then keep inking the zone. Some of the best weapons for zones are the NZAP 85, the sloshing machine, and my personal favorite, the big swing roller. Booyah bombs and triple splashdowns can always be helpful for splat zones. Anchor weapons can also be helpful, because in zones, a lot of people get splat a lot. So if you have an anchor to help and eliminate other players, you can get a lot more splats and make the zone yours. The next mode is Clam Blitz. If you've played a lot of Blitz in Splat 2 and not much in 3, the number of clams you need to get a clam football thingy got reduced from 10 to 8. If you see that somebody just dropped a clam football thingy, go speedrunner mode for a few seconds and get the freaking thing. If somebody on your team has 6 or 7 clams and you have a few, that give them so they can get a full clam football thingy. I remember one time somebody had 7 clams and I gave them a clam and then somebody else took it. Wait, did I say that out loud? If you didn't know, yes, you can throw clams, even if you don't have a full clam football thingy. If somebody on your team is close to scoring a clam, protect them. It helps. If they get splatted, take the clam football thingy. Now some general game tips. Before playing a new map that you're curious about, go on Recon mode and check it out. Recon mode is good for taking a picture and finding glitches out too. Another helpful thing that you can do is go to settings and change your motion and sensitivity controls. When you do this, it changes how effective whenever you move your controller or switches. When playing with certain splatlings or stringers, you can charge up an attack, go in the ink, and come out and still have your attack charged. If you don't have Splatoon 3 yet, then what the heck? Grab your mom's credit card and buy 3,000 copies of it. Okay, we are more than halfway. Now let's talk about the next mode, Salmon Run. Wait, aren't Inklings too young to be doing Salmon Run? Chris has already committed several other crimes, such as kidnapping, murder, and not paying taxes, and robbery too. I guess that's just another one added to the list. Anyway, let's do one tip for every 7 minutes. Steelheads. Always keep an eye, or 3, on the bomb, to make sure that it isn't coming toward you, and also when to try to splat it. Steel eels. You should always try to find a way to get around them. You maybe even target one of your teammates, and then swerve around them and splat it. When fighting a Moz, try to use a splat bomb instead of shooting at it. You can use a splat bomb when fighting a flyfish, but if you have a certain special weapon, or have the ink cannon, you can also splat one. Stingers don't move, just know what direction it's at. Always be ready for a Drizzler to go Mary Poppins mode and move to a different spot. Also, if you see a Drizzler bomb thingy, and you know what direction it came from, shoot it to go back and splat it. You don't need to fully stun a scrapper to eliminate it. If there's one player shooting from the front and another shooting from the back, the salmon will stop because the front player is shooting it and the back player can fully take him out. Oh shoot, I'm starting to sound like a nerd. If there's a fish stick near the egg basket, you don't need to get off the fish stick to get an egg into the basket. You can just throw it. Flipper floppers are some of the easiest salmon to splat. If it's the end of your shift and you haven't met your quota and you're really close and you see a flipper flopper, then you should splat it immediately. A tip about big shots is that you can use their cannons to shoot eggs. This is very helpful so you can be lazy and only take 2 steps to put them in. I bet before watching this video you thought that salmon lids were your enemies. Well, they're not. If you go under their barrier, while a boss salmon it also is, it will splat it for you. See, that's something a friend would do. They do kick you off, but hey, if a random stranger came into your house in the middle of the night, would you want them there? Now one tip for all of the lesser salmonids. Small fries may seem weak at first. Now one tip for all the lesser salmonids. Small fries may seem weak at first glance, but I've lost many fights to these little guys. They come in packs, so make sure to keep an eye out. Chums are the most common salmonid to spawn, so expect to see them a lot. Don't get jumped by cohawks. If you see a snatcher and you don't know where the golden egg is, follow it. If it gets there before you, kill it! King salmonid time! When going against a Cohozuna, it is helpful to use a crab tank to splat it. If you're fighting Ouroboros, try to aim for the bomb. It does extra damage, and you don't get hit by it. If you're fighting Joe, once he's about to come up, you have a few seconds to get away from the crime scene before the cops come. Or worse, he comes. If you've never played the next wave for some reason, you can throw golden eggs to get closer to splatting a king salmonid. Now we'll go over some known occurrences. Before a round starts, don't go too far away from the egg basket because there's always a fair chance that it'll be high tide. If there's a goldie seeking mode, don't spend much time on one gusher, try a different one so you can reach your quota quickly. If there's a griller mode, most players should try to spot the grillers and there should be one person focusing on the small fries. If your mode is Cohawk Charge, don't forget that when you're in a cannon you still can run out of ink, so make sure you refill your tank every now and then. When you're playing Fog, one of the most annoying things are stingers, because they come out of nowhere and randomly shoot at you, but you can also use that to your advantage and look where they're coming from. You know what? I'll actually do 2 for Fog. Fog matches can be very foggy, so if you see a gleam, go to it. It's probably a goldie. If you get rush mode and you see glowflies, run. Just run. Some people overestimate the mothership stage. It's really not that hard. Just splat the Chinooks and shoot the mothership when it comes near the egg basket. Booyah bombs, killer whale 5.1s, and triple ink strikes can also splat mudmouths. If you get the giant tornado mode, you just hit the jackpot. You should have 2 people throwing eggs and 2 people putting them in the basket. This mode is so easy, there are no snatchers, and the only salmonids that there are some lesser ones that pop out when you destroy the crate. If your team somehow managed to lose on this stage, you are the biggest noob I have ever seen. Okay, now that I'm done with the salmon run section, I'll go over some more general tips. Before buying a new weapon, test it out first. Remember to use different weapons. Meaning a weapon is always good, but you should try different weapons too. Finding what weapon's right for you can be hard, so make sure to test them out in a few battles to see which one is right for you. The squid roll is a helpful tool to use when you're in a tricky situation. You spin out of the way and come out of the ink temporarily as a squid. To use this, become a squid in ink and move one way and then move the other way and jump at the same time. Another similar move that you can do is the squid surge. When you do this, you charge up a wall extra fast. To do this, go on a wall, run up it, and do a backflip. Not JK. Go up a wall, become a squid, then hold the jump button and then release. Remember all those years ago, at the beginning of the video, ooh, that rhymed, when I said more on that later? Okay, well now is later. Wait, no, now is now. Wait, no, you know what I mean. The thing I'll be going over are ability chunks. Every clothing gear can have ability chunks. To change and work them out, talk to Merch or Spike. Ability chunks help you in-game. Some are swim speed up, which makes you swim fast, ninja squid, which makes there no splash when you swim in the ink, and intensify action, which makes the squid roll and squid surge more intense. The way to earn ability chunks is by playing battles or Salmon Run. Clothing gear have 4 ability slots, 1 primary and 3 secondary. Primary are more effective, while secondary are still but not as effective. Okay, table turf time. Building your deck is very important, and not just using the starter deck. If you have no cards you can use, charge up for a special attack. Special attacks have to be next to a core piece, but they can remove some of your opponents. Make sure to use the right special at the right time. For example, if your opponent's winning by 10 points, and you're charging up for a big man card, which is 7, and you have a triple ink strike, which is 3, and you have 3 total points, you should use the triple ink strike attack to get ahead. Not sure everybody knew this, but you can rotate the pieces by pressing left and right. If you beat an opponent several times, you can challenge them in harder battles, going from level 1 to 3. Okay, now for the last category. I'm going to be going over some out-of-game stuff. The first thing I'm going to be talking about, I do not know how I have not said nothing about this entire video. It's making a Splatoon team. If you have any friends who play Splatoon, you can add them. No friends? Then you can use Discord or Twitter. No Discord or Twitter? Then, do something, I don't know. If you do get a team, you should have about 1 person for each weapon role. Stay updated on checking out Nintendo's YouTube channel. You can learn about new updates, Splatfests, and big runs before they happen. Subscribe to some other good Splatooners, such as AlphaStar516, Vic Villain, Prochara, and LED Games. And subscribe to me. I make new videos about Splatoon weekly, and I've been playing the game for years now, so subscribe! Thank you if you stuck around this far. I put in a lot of effort into this video. If you have any questions or comments, put them in the comments. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.